Welcome to the Recruitment Hackers Podcast, a show about innovations, technology, and leaders in the recruitment industry. Brought to you by TalkPush, the leading recruitment automation platform.
Hello, and welcome back to the Recruitment Hackers Podcast. I'm your host, Max Armbruster, and today I'm delighted to welcome to the show Christina Junio, who is head of sales and operations at Resource Solution. Resource Solution is part of the Robert Walters Group and the RPO arm. And Christina is dialing in from the Philippines, where she heads, as I said, sales and operations there for Resource Solution. We had a chat with Christina about some of the trends happening in her market, and we recognize that there's a talent crunch happening in Asia, which kind of resembles what's happening in North America. We're getting a lot in the news in North America with some changes in the way the new generations are experiencing joblessness, and also some changes that are unique to the Philippines when it comes to driving demand. The market is shifting, and there's new demand on the labor force being driven by the gig economy and new type of work being offshored to the Philippines. So that's the general topic for our discussion. Christina, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Max, and for the invitation. I'm glad to join you in this one and maybe try to share and answer some of your questions with regards to the talentscape in the Philippines, maybe also the rest of the APAC region. But yeah, thank you for the invite.
I was in the Philippines recently talking to some employers who were complaining about the fact that they have to work twice as hard this year because candidates have so many new options that are popping up. Early young talent has a lot of different options that are popping up. So maybe starting with that, sharing your experience on how the market is shifting.
Well, specifically in Asia, and I would say in the Philippines in particular, there has been we're experiencing a talent crunch here in the Philippines, because I would say there are different factors affecting that. One of which is, again, the Philippines is actually trying to promote its IT BPM sector, one in particular. There has been a rapid expansion in the IT BPM sector, particularly in the outsourcing and BPO companies. So again, major contributor would be is a lot of companies in the US or other countries are looking into moving some of the roles here in Asia. And one of the preferred countries is actually the Philippines. Of course, there's India as well. But again, they're looking at the Philippines becoming part of their back office, support solution center. So that's one of them. Particularly, in terms of numbers, I learned from PEZA that there are now 788 registered BPO companies in the Philippines.
Wow.
And that's from large to small scale companies. So given that a lot of investment is coming into the Philippines, and even the government is trying to leverage on that. So IBPAP, which is one of the drivers of the IBPM sector, particularly is trying to drive also selling the Philippines as a BPO, destination or outsourcing destination. According to them, this year alone, there's been an 8.7 increase of growth in this sector, in the IBPM sector.
In headcount. They typically they count the headcount, right?
Yes,
so they're like
the
last time I checked, there was 1.2 million people working in that industry.
Yes. Now it's 1.7.
Oh no.
Yeah, surpassing a growth.
You stopped looking for like a few quarters, and there's 500,000 people who just joined the industry. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. So aside from PEZA, there's also the growing Fintech landscape. So I'm sure you've heard here in the Philippines, there's a growth in the digital banking. There's the financial digitization industry that's growing also here in the Philippines. I think compared to last year, there's even a 32% growth. So according to the Fintech Association of the Philippines, there's like 32% growth. Originally, there were 216 companies. This year, there's now 285 Fintech entities in the Philippines.
Fintech, you said?
Yeah, so Fintech would be like digital banking, payment gateways, lending, the currency. So those kind of companies that are into finance and tech. So there has been a growing.
It sounds like
that.
It sounds like the quality, the level of qualifications and the type of work that is coming to the Philippines has shifted up considerably from what was traditionally just a call center, a voice call center operation. how much of the voice call center operation, how much of this 1.7 million people would that still be? I'm not asking you for the official number. Maybe your best guesstimate.
Oh God, it's kind of hard because
Hard, yeah.
when I attended the ITBPM event for IBPAP, it's a mix. I mean, I'm hearing that the desire of most companies now here is become, aside from being a back office, they also want to be a solution driver as well. So you're not just accepting
It's
job from
mixed.
the US, it's a mix. We're
Yeah.
also hiring a development team here in the Philippines,
Hmm.
managing HR shared services. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of a mix now.
Yeah.
It's quite different. I would say it would still be probably half, 50% of this particular market, but again, it's diversifying, I would say. It's becoming
Yeah.
diverse.
Yeah. And it makes sense also for an employer
Mm,
to have a mix because when you do a large scale recruitment marketing campaign, you're going to attract people with different skills. It'd be a shame to lose half of that marketing spend. So if you're going to hire some IT staff
mm,
and also some voice support staff, then maybe they're all coming out of the same marketing effort,
mm.
and you can find some openings for all the best candidates within your clients. And would you say the Upworks of the world and the other sort of marketplace websites where people can do part-time gigs or hourly gigs
Wow.
and work at night to support US customers, do you feel that pressure on the talent pool as you represent different employers? Do you think that's a significant force in the market today?
Yeah.
Or you think it's more of this talent crunch is driven simply by increased demand and the
Mm.
fact that you have these 800 BPOs. In other words, are we at a point where individuals are able to find a lot of work on the side that makes them maybe less, that lowers the demand for corporate jobs?
Yes. So I totally agree because right now, I mean, brought about the pandemic, right? There's now what we call the gig economy. And it because of the work from home flexibility, people are now able to consider having a full-time job versus a project or multiple jobs just delivering per hour. I mean, I recall I have a friend who actually has a nephew who has two jobs and he works from home. And
Yeah.
he works for a company and he also does programming, coding, and some doing some market research on the side during his free hours because he works at night shift. He also can do some work during APAC hours. So
Hmm.
yes, because there are more options now for talents, they're starting to become more like, do I consider working, being nailed to a 9 to 5 job, or having my own time, managing my own time? So,
Hmm.
yes, it's becoming also a challenge. Whenever we interview candidates, the first thing they ask is this a work from home? What is your hybrid model?
Hmm.
Doesn't mean that you're work from home. That means you're 100% work from home. So, yes, it's becoming also one of the challenges, I would say, that employers nowadays also have to face. I've
It's
heard some
it's it's
companies are
it's
even
kind of
doing.
a catch-22 because I remember one of the criticism that people would have about the workforce in the Philippines is that they're not autonomous enough, that they need too much
Mm,
direction. And now it's like
it's going
the tables have turned. Now they're
the
so
tables have turned.
autonomous that they don't need you anymore. They can
Yes,
manage
it
their own
is.
schedule.
Specifically for this new generation. I mean, you have to understand they're more tech savvy. Information is on their fingertips. They know. I would say
They're
it's
better than
faster than
us.
I I would I don't want to get there, but yes, the boomers versus the Gen X and the Gen Zs, it has again its pros and cons. But for me, this particular generation, given that they have been presented options, they are smarter, I would say. It's becoming really a talent and candidate driven industry, a market. So that's why employers have to be more creative in trying to sell their EVP, their brand to the new talent market.
Yeah, how do you fight back?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Yeah. So what are some effective strategies for
Hmm.
corporations that want to attract top talent that now has this option of, oh, I can work 20 hours a week if I want to and get paid at double the hourly rate.
Yeah. I guess the employers nowadays have to really rethink their resourcing model. So they have to understand that nowadays loyalty is not really that of a thing nowadays, especially with the new generation. So they have to rethink how to do their resourcing model. Some companies are even looking into investing in early career programs, building a talent bench pool for some of them. So I've seen there's been a sudden drive for most companies, especially in the MNCs, investing on early career programs,
Mm-hmm.
tying up with universities, because you have two options. It's either you compete with the mature talents already, that's already there, or you try to tap on the new entrants. So to give you an example, a couple of companies, both local and international, are trying to do that right now. It's like Union Bank, who we call them now Union Digital, has
Mm-hmm.
actually opened their own training development center or university for new entrants, right? Trying
Mm-hmm.
to tie up or partner with universities. Some of the shared services centers are actually investing more on their early career programs. Some are even like sending their new hires, new grads to abroad to be trained, upskilled,
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
if there is another, let's say, attrition or increase in attrition in the organization, it's faster for them to pivot or shift people. So there is becoming more investments on the new entrants in the Philippines. That's one. Another thing that they need to also start thinking more is the benchmark pay. They need to rethink how, because candidates are also now becoming more smarter when it comes to pay. It's not more of like how much you pay me. It's more of like how much is my value for this company? What's my contribution? So yes, they are becoming smarter in that part. That's why even some companies are offering shares or stock shares, RSUs. I would say I've experienced that in my previous company, and it does have an impact for certain employees that my work and contribution contributes to this, to the increase of the shares and the stake of this company. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's another.
So
Um,
that's shifting. Yeah, I remember it was never a consideration for employer like shares. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah,
Just yeah,
yeah.
just give me my rice allowance. Just
No more
uh,
rice allowance. Yeah. I mean, even for like, for example, I've heard this new trend in the talent industry wherein if you cannot monetize something, you could probably provide them with a lifestyle increase. What is a lifestyle increase? Probably providing them with more leave credits,
mhm,
providing them with more flexible hours. That's a lifestyle increase. So you're not monetizing it, but providing them with more flexibility at work. That's another option that's being offered right now by employers. So,
uh,
so yeah.
it sounds like the big lever here is go towards young talent at the universities, train them early, attract them early, rather than try to
Yes.
turn renegades into loyalists, because that's just not going to work. Once they move to the other side, once they're renegades, then, stay away. Um,
Yeah. What
but
makes them loyal to you since they move from one company to another because of a pay increase?
yeah, yeah. And then building the loyalist over time. You mentioned being flexible, having a flexible workforce where somebody comes in a particular function and you switch them up after a year or two. Is
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, career growth, you package it as a career growth. Like, for example, it has to be exciting for them, especially with the new generation. It has to be something always exciting. So you package it to them and you present it to them as, again, this is a career growth. You're being given an opportunity to learn new skills, upskill yourself in preparation of your future. So yeah.
Right.
Some Gen Zs call it quiet hiring, but for me, it's called really more of a upskilling. You really have to be able to articulate it properly to your employees and to your future candidates or the candidates that you're recruiting. You should be able to articulate that properly.
This quiet hiring, it means hiring without broadcasting it outside the organization.
So basically, it's trying, this is part of a result of the global transformation. So a lot of companies are doing global transformation. They're trying to implement more lean processes, trying to recalibrate certain functions and roles. So let's say, for example, one role is vacated, you could actually move it to and pass it on to an existing team, right? And try to like
Mhm.
add it as an additional task or activity. So
Okay.
So yeah, that's what the Gen Z's call quiet hiring. They're giving me more job, but with the same
Oh,
pay. But again,
oh,
there
it,
it's
they're
it
moaning
has its
again.
yeah.
Damn youth.
So so it has its pros and cons. And for me, it has its advantages because I am being upskilled. I'm given an opportunity to learn something new that's
I may have
outside my
I may have been
sphere.
doing some quiet hiring without even knowing it myself.
Again,
Damn.
it's efficiency. A lot of companies are trying to drive efficiency. There are the days wherein you have this conveyor belt, right?
Yeah.
Why not have an end-to-end subject matter expert? Right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
something that most companies are actually looking at
Stop
right now.
stop treating people like a little cog in the machine and make
Exactly.
them a little bit more adaptive.
Yeah. It
Adaptive.
allows your team to pivot faster. Once you lose one cog, you have somebody who has that knowledge and just make him a bigger cog, I would say.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Great.
Uh,
Well, thanks, Christina, for sharing your insights. And
mhm.
it's, yeah, obviously, it sounds like you've got a tough work environment with a tough market, but overall, we're describing what is a very positive evolution of the labor force and just a much more agile workforce, much
Mm.
more competent and agile workforce than, even a few years ago. So that's uplifting. The youth are doing great.
Yeah.
Can you tell our audience what's the best way to get a hold of you if they want
Oh,
to engage with you or with a resource solution?
definitely. I mean, they could reach out to me via email. I'm in LinkedIn. Of course, Christina Junio, you could ping me or message me directly. Hit me up. I'm happy to connect with people, provide some insights on what we do with resource solutions and provide insights about the Philippines as well. So yeah, we do have our website. Our contact information is also there. My contact information and our sales team would be more than happy to connect you with me.
Smashing. Well, thanks again for joining and talk soon.
Thank you, Max. Have a great day.
Christina, share with us the change that's happening in the Philippines. I'm not just talking about the 1.7 million people working in the BPO industry supporting customers overseas, but the fact that this young talent is more demanding, has more options, is more technology versatile than before. I mean, they sound like just an amazing group of people, and certainly, I think that the perception in the next generation will shift over the type of work that you can send overseas and what needs to stay in North America or in Europe. Certainly it sounds like a workforce that is extremely autonomous and knowledgeable, so that's inspiring. Hope you got inspired too, and that you'll come back for more interviews on the Recruitment Hackers podcast. Please follow, please share. Thank you.